After the break, I want to continue this discussion. Please stay with us. We'll be back soon.
And try to convert people, then have these quotas, how many churches they built, how many people they converted, and go back and collect some more. So I think that also the target of conversion is the Hindu, is not any other religion. They convert Hindus only, and to some extent the Pope also gave that direction when he came to India in 1999, that India is a country which Christians regard as a legitimate base for conversions. And of course one can't blame him for that, because Christianity does believe in proselytization, whereas we Hindus don't believe in it. So that's the second dimension, the religious dimension. There's also the dimension of the state being not neutral between religions. Because the Muslims and the Christians vote as en bloc, they tend to pander to them more and target the Hindu community to see that they don't get organized. For example, the Temples Act specifically empowers the government only to take over the administration of Hindu temples, but you cannot take over the administration of the mosques or Muslim mosques or the Christian churches. This discrimination is there. Religious travelers for Muslims and Christians are subsidized abroad, whereas Hindus are not. So then there is a...
So why is this occurring? I have to ask, why is this occurring in a nation that's 83%
The only reason this is occurring is that the Nehru family has traditionally regarded consolidation of Hindus as antithetical to them. They think that they would rule better with a coalition of minorities.
And when you say the Nehru family, it's the people we call the Gandhis. Not Mohandas Gandhi, but people who took the name. No.
It's a coincidence in name, yeah. Nehru and then Indira Gandhi and then their Gandhis, other Gandhis. Yeah. These people have always regarded their source of power as a coalition of minorities. And these minorities vote 100% as a bloc. Whereas if the Hindus consolidate, they would have a problem.
Now there has been, from what I perceive, a sort of back to Hinduism movement in India in the last, I guess, 25, 30 years in particular. What's driving that?
Well, partly the feeling of that we Hindus in our own country, which has been traditionally a Hindu country, there was a time when it was a 100% Hindu country, are second-class citizens.
How's that? How so?
Well, this you see on temples, the government can take it over any time, take over all the funds of the temples, not spend it on the temples, but spend it on other activities of the government. Sometimes the state chief ministers have arrested the Shankaracharya, one of the pontiffs of Hindu religion, on false cases, harassment. In one state in India called Andhra, they tried in fact to take over the property of the thing and hand it over to the Christian churches.
Well, I want to come back to the Christian issue first of all and ask you, so what's the problem with Christians attempting to convert people?
There's no problem with Christians per se. In fact, I myself went to a Christian missionary school. We are great deep regard and respect for the education. We are a country which has always accepted all religions. The Jewish people were persecuted in vast parts of the world, but in India we didn't persecute them. And what we do feel is that this new crop of entrepreneurial Christians who come, who come there with their jumbo jets and plane, and then hold galas, and then try to claim that they are converting people, offer people scholarships to study in the West, jobs, employment, so on. It's a kind of induced conversion, and we think that's bad.
Well, I think some of them have felt, I'm going to speak for them in a second, they felt that the strictures of the caste system have left a wide segment of the population thirsting for some form of liberty, which they feel they may get if they become Christian. How do you respond to that?
I would respond favorably to that, in the sense that it's the responsibility of the Hindus, not only to ban it by acts of the legislation, but also to ensure that you are not vulnerable. I mean, if you are like a wildebeest in Africa, and you roam in the open fields, you are bound to be attacked by lions. The same way, if you have weaknesses in your background, then people will take advantage of it. And they certainly, even if they don't take advantage, they may think that they are doing God's duty by liberating them. I have no quarrel with that. I think that we should. At the same time, it is not only the caste factor, it's not the liberation factor, because if it was so, then even today 99% of the scheduled caste or the ex-untouchables are still Hindus. They have not converted. It's the inducement that your career advancement would take place if you go out. For example, I give you today our Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Mr. Balakrishnan, is a Hindu. He's from the ex-untouchable caste, and his father converted to Christianity and then reconverted to Hinduism later. So they asked him after his son became the Chief Justice that, well, why did you do that? And he said, well, I wanted a good education and I couldn't afford it, but I didn't want to leave Hindu religion, so for the sake of meeting the requirements of the Christian schools, I converted, and when my education was over, I reconverted. So I think the caste system injustices are not the main part of the conversion activities. It's the main part is motivated by offer of heaven once you convert.
Salvation. When we come back, what I want to talk about is whether India really is a secular society as it claims. Please stay with us. We'll be back shortly.